Good evening. Welcome to Focus on Liberia. I am the West African correspondent, Edward Amara. Welcome to breaking news or updates of happenings on the continent. Focus on Liberia uses this particular opportunity to ensure that we keep giving you updates and also analysis of news that actually take place on the continent. As we all know, we have major development on the continent of Africa. But unfortunately, because of certain circumstances, the media in Africa and West do not actually focus their lens on things that happen positively on the continent. But again, come to think of it, it is our own responsibility to ensure that we create news, we create a type of platform. Maybe we try to do things that may make the world to interpret us positively. But because of certain circumstances, most of what we hear on the continent and what happened and what the international camera has focused on are never good actually for the continent. Since 2020, we have been having series of setbacks into our political setup that made or that instigated the military to come back into full political operations. I think we've actually forgot about military being integral part of our political setup for quite a long time. But because of the type of happenings on the continent, maybe a political deceit, people have seen, or people have actually rated politicians as deceivers, as good liars. People just think and feel that maybe politics is a matter of it's a matter that where you involve, or a kind of business where you involve huge amount of people will lose at the detriment of the few amount of people who have the opportunity to go. So because of those circumstances, the government do not trust those who are governing us. And we actually have been left at a situation, maybe sometimes people tend to subscribe themselves to negative things. Because if we are not so, you cannot see a military taken over an elected government, and yet you see the civilian coming to jubilate. Because the civilians and the military are two different sets of people who do not have the same ideology. But it is because of the failure of our own civilian government, that is why you are seeing each time a military takes over a typical government that was being elected, you see the very civilian who should have been protesting against the said military, celebrating for them. See, it's rather ironical. This is situational irony. We are thinking that if a military takes over a particular government setup, that is described as abnormal, it's a coup d'etat, it's an unconstitutional act, it is unacceptable, it is baseless, it is an illegal government. It is not tolerable into any government or into any natural society setup. So by virtue of that, we could have been expecting people to come out on the street to demonstrate against such havoc. But appallingly and astonishingly, people we tend to celebrate such military takeover. We saw it in Guinea. In fact, some people even describe the military takeover in Guinea not as a violation of the constitution, but as a means which to operationalize the constitution or to legalize the constitution. That was what we are saying. When they took over in Mali, in fact, it was the behavioral pattern of the military that instigated of the Malians that instigated the military to even take over in Mali. We saw what's happening in Burkina Faso. The civilians were demonstrating against the Kabore-led government, and the military stepped in. Now we are seeing what happens into Niger of recent. On Wednesday, when the military took over, people came to celebrate the coup instead of condemning it. So we may think they act dastardly, is unconstitutional, it is unacceptable. But what if our elected government violates the social contract and the said constitution that brought them into power? The people also have the right to demonstrate, maybe to ask them out. But in Africa, when demonstration takes place, it is not the civilian government that will be sacked and replaced with another civilian government. It is the military that will step in and take over, but with their own ulterior motive, and we will not live to see the execution of good policies. So today, we have basically 6 stories to discuss on. The first one, we are going to see how Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko has been arrested or placed under house arrest for an alleged theft of a female gendarmerie gun. That is why the court is saying. And he is set on his hunger strike and has also asked all political detainees in Senegal, the capital city Dakar, and across the country to join him in the hunger strike. Then we also see how, because of political failure in Nigeria, people in Adamawa State, the capital city of Yola, they fully came out on the street, demonstrated and looted people's shop because of a hike in prices, skyrocketing prices. The demonstration came in against high cost of living, and they resulted to looting people's shop, catering away with the property of others. Sad event, absolutely sad, because of a failure in the government promise. You all know when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over, the first thing that is evoked was the fuel subsidy. And by taking away the fuel subsidy, it exacerbated the cost of commodities into Nigeria, especially their staple food. And it resulted into even the teachers in Nigeria now, according to their latest press release, I think maybe it has been implemented. They are only going to be teaching 2 times within a week. And the government claimed that the removal of fuel subsidy is to enable the government to improve on health, create employment, establish or build new infrastructure, and also to improve on the road network system, and also education. But it had a concomitant effect by escalating the prices of staple food into Nigeria, which the layman is now seeing as a curse instead of a blessing, because these are long-time plan which may or may not have any effect on the layman. So the thing can feel that it's a slap into their faces and they have no option. And we also heard in Niger, after the junta took over, according to the latest news, they have detained 130 strong ruling party members, arrested 5 ministers, including the Minister of Petroleum and the Finance, who the Minister of Petroleum doubles with the Minister of Mines, including the Finance Minister, have been arrested. And ECOWAS, in their so-called wisdom, have given the military only a week to resign and come back with President Muhammad Bazoum to office, or they will attack Niger militarily and maybe install the president or reinstall the president back. But the military have retaliated by saying it is their own sovereignty and nobody should involve. We come down to that story. And we see how hard that the Central African Republic is awaiting its referendum result. Then finally, Kenya has pledged to support Haiti with military, the police, to ensure that Principe, the capital city of Haiti, is being guided. So let's start with Senegal. Senegal have a very popular politician who is a mayor in one of the cities in Senegal. He established himself when he served as he was like a tax collector for most of working like the national revenue collector in some countries in Senegal. He became a city mayor as he is now, but now he has the presidential ambition, and he and President Macky Sall do not see the same way. Of course, he accused President Macky Sall of having the intention to run for a third term in office after the president amended the constitution. Instead of allowing the constitution to be 7 years, it is now 5 years. And in most African countries, what they normally do, if the person run for the first 7 years into office, he come into before his second term in office, in case he wins the election for the second time, he will amend that constitution. So by the time his 7 years time expire, which will make him 14 years, he will now decide to contest the election on another constitution, because the constitution will no longer bar him from contesting the election, since it will be a newly adopted constitution. So that was what Usman Sanko was saying, that Macky Sall intend to continue, maybe to continue having his political ambition into Senegal. It resulted in a demonstration. He was being arrested on theft, on rape. He sentenced in absentia, and in the name of corruption, now he has been arrested for inciting or for an insurgent act, and also theft of gun, which he has denied, and he has been placed under home arrest. But Macky Sall now is calling on all political detainees in Senegal to actually go on hunger strike, and he thinks and feels that the so-called government of Macky Sall want to bar him from contesting election. And if he banned from contesting election, it means any other political appointed person of Macky Sall, if he does not run for office, finally we have the opportunity to win the election. That is the development into Senegal, and the country is primed to go into serious demonstration. The last time a demonstration was being held in the name of this politician, about 30 people actually lost their lives. Let's see. In Nigeria, people in Adamawa State, Yola, went on a series of demonstration on Saturday because they accused the government of exacerbating the prices of staple food. It was a protest or a demonstration against the state, but it resulted into a chaotic or pandemonium situation that people's shop, stores or warehouses, marketplaces, supermarkets were being looted, and their items were catered away with. The government condemned the act, and the police declared a curfew. But now they are saying the area is now peaceful, and they believe that all the Adamawans or people from Adamawa State who embrace peace will help them to ensure that the area is being fully and solely secured. This is the problem. You elect an African leader to come and solve problem, they will exacerbate the problem for you. You elect them to provide food, maybe to create a platform where one can have his or her own daily bread without going under undue expenses. Now they are creating huge amount of problem. They have been paid in dollars. They have been paid in thousands, and they cannot even feel the punch of trying to increase the prices of the staple food. At least people are being deprived from the national cake, and the only thing they depend on is their staple food. So if you decide to attack that staple food by increasing the prices of it, it is like attacking the last hope of the common man, and they will have little or no option rather than to attack. So that's how the result, but the police are now saying everything is settled. Now we come into Niger. The capital city is Niamey. Mohamed Bazoum was overthrown. And the reasons given for his overthrow were: one, his failure to tackle the insecurity into the country that have resulted into the death of series of attacks and into the death of many police, including civilians. Then secondly, the claim that the government is absolutely corrupt and unemployment and also staple food, or the cost of life of staple food into Niger was very high. So the military actually attacked and overthrew the government of Mohamed Bazoum, a 59 years old man who was actually appointed by the predecessor of Mohamed Bazoum. But people are saying it was widely rumored that the president had an intention less than a month ago to replace the head of his presidential guard. And it being a well-established military officer within that particular rank, but not internationally known, staged a coup. Some part of 2019, he was also alleged to have orchestrated or planned a coup d'etat, which he was actually taken to court to deny, and the case was being dismissed against his person. He has now declared himself as the president of Niger. ECOWAS is saying they have given him and his khaki boys 1 week to leave and also to release Mr. President anytime from now, or else they will attack. But I wonder if that will definitely solve the problem. You have the German forces into Niger, you have French forces are into Niger, also USA forces are into Niger. And Niger is a Uranian country. And the Wagner group also want to establish themselves. As Prigozhin said, it is not an overthrow. Rather, it's the people of Niger that fight for themselves. The Nigerians have the right to fight for themselves. It's like implementing the constitutional order. So ECOWAS giving them ultimatum, and the United States have supported them. In fact, the military, the junta boys in Niger now, are now even claiming that France has the intention to attack the presidential palace and free Mohamed Bazoum. But France has denied and distanced herself with the so-called allegation. We pray and hope that nothing like that happens. And we pray and hope that ECOWAS also do not attack, because it will escalate the problems into the Sahel. And that may even have consequences on places like Cameroon, on places like Chad, on places like Nigeria, Mali, Algeria, all of those areas that share boundaries with Niger. And if problems like that come, it is problem of West Africa. It can affect Sierra Leone, it can also affect Liberia, and it also affect Guinea. So pray and hope things like that will not actually happen. Central African Republic conducted a referendum last week. The Wagner group under Prigozhin helped to provide the security. And now the president is said to have a constitution that will be approved. It means he will now have the political mandate to hire and dismiss ministers without any consultation, have his own vice president, then also run for another term of office, which will create a dire situation. But there is all possibility that he will definitely succeed. And it's another careful violation of the country's constitution. It's a constitutional coup d'etat. If the military retaliate, it's a problem. And mind you, Central Africa is also fighting the Christian Balaka and Anti-Balaka. They are fighting a religious war. Since the fall of Francois Bozizi, he has also been accused of supporting the Anti-Balakas. This is a very, 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 very serious situation. We are praying and hoping that that country does not deteriorate into another Somalia. But for quite too long, CAR has never been peaceful. We almost have different type of peacekeepers into the country to ensure that peace is being maintained. Sudan, the suffering of the people of Sudan still continues. Bombs are raining on homes. Women are being raped. People are being tortured. Young men are being conscripted. The army is threatening itself. And everybody think and feel that they have the right to sack another person. Sudan is a pathetic situation. Africa has not been able to solve its problem. The West are not willing because of their own ulterior motive. And unfortunately, the Sudanese have been left at the detriment of their own brothers and sisters. And South Sudan also rely on the North Sudan. So North Sudan is now fighting a battle. Nobody knows what may happen. South Sudan is full of inter-religious conflict and also clan. Finally, in Haiti, Kenya now pledges to send a police force in the capital city of Principe to ensure that it helps to provide security. Since the fall of, in fact, before President Jovenel Moïse was killed, the capital city was never peaceful. It is the largest black nation on earth. Unfortunately, it has never been peaceful in the Caribbean. It's like the Haitians are caused. Earthquake, cholera, UN forces we are sent there, rape, help to spread HIV and AIDS. Then we are seeing president upon president have been killed. Then gangs have taken over the capital city. The government just lacks that solidarity from its citizens. It is just like an illegal state. Now Kenya is saying they will send police. Although the Haitians are saying, especially the police force, the law enforcement agent, the foreign minister, said the coming of the Kenyan troops into Haiti may definitely not solve the problem. But it will help to quieten it down. Excuse me. And at the same time, they will help to train the Kenyan police, which will serve as a backbone to provide further security. Africa is Africa, full of sad events. We pray and hope that tomorrow we will not wake with another news of a coup d'etat, because coup is almost always possible on the continent. And those of us who want to surround the Sahel are actually living in fear. It is just like what is happening in Russia. Everybody is now living in fear. Thank you for listening. It's been me, Edward Amara, Focus on Liberia, West African correspondent, coming to you with the latest news on the continent. Join me back on Wednesday, same place, same time, for the same purpose. Thank you.